Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we're getting very, very close here to going on the offensive. Incredibly close. However, we need to think about what we want our final support company here to be, if we even want one. So I was thinking about that, and we don't have access to flame tanks, which is sad. I definitely wanted to have access to flame tanks. We could go down to normal medium tanks instead of modern tanks, but I think we'll leave this as it is and see how it performs. And then currently we have access to the engineer company and to military police. I don't think either of these are particularly useful. What I was thinking about doing, and we don't have a research slot for this right now, we could go for the signal company. That is a distinct option. I actually hadn't considered this. Let's see, that would give us recovery rate, initiative, some organization. Okay. What exactly does initiative do again? The quicker it gets its planning done. Okay, sure. The other option is we could go for field hospitals to make it so that we lose less manpower on the offensive. I think that's a definite interesting thing that we could do. This would be essentially 20% casualty reduction, and then if we were to do this, this would be an additional 10, an additional 10, and then an additional 10. So that's going to be 50% casualty reduction. I'm swapping over to this. So we're going to get going on that. That seems fine for now. So we're going to get the Field Hospital 1 finished up soon enough. We'll proceed forward for now. And we'll, of course, need to have 10 Army experience for that. In the meantime, of course, we are working on, and there's advanced radio finishing. Now I want to come in here. Well, we just finished advanced radio. We can finish up the research company. There we go. Hang on, something feels really wrong here about my audio on my end. Ah, there we go. That's much better. Turns out my headphones were halfway unplugged, and so I was only getting one channel of audio. Fantastic. Okay, so that shouldn't have affected you guys at all. That's just on my end. Also, these guys don't have supplies. So that's neat. Not talking about our guys. I'm talking about their guys. We can see that they're pretty much out of supplies over here. Very fascinating. Not over here, but over here. Cool. We're very happy about that. So how are we doing on our training here? Well, it's definitely making progress. It'll be fully trained on 9 September 1948 at this point. Well, now it just changed to 10 September 1948. Okay, so that's not too far away. But it will be pushed back a little bit when we add in the hospital company. So that's understood. Now, I did see on Discord, and I meant to respond to this, but I forgot to respond to it on Discord. I will hopefully get to that after I finish this episode. But I did see the question asked if we can release any of this up here and start funneling industry to that. It's an interesting question, and I kind of do want to figure out the answer to that. So occupied territories up over here, I don't think we can, and the reason is because these countries still exist. So yeah, this would just return territory. We could release nation British Raj, but that would be all of this out over here. As of right now, I have no interest in doing that. So China, we can't do. Khalistan would return territory. So no, we can't actually release any of this at this time and start funneling this territory over. And keep in mind, British Raj would give away everything except, like, our very capital region. So that's not something we want to do at this time. Maybe later on, once we have a little bit more non-British Raj territory. But for right now, I think we're absolutely fine where we are on that front. So, I mean, we can think about our tax brackets, right? But ultimately, the tax brackets don't really matter that much when we consider that maximum tax bracket puts us up 4% over the minimum. It's just 4% consumer goods. It's really not bad. So I think that's absolutely fine for right now. We'll just chill in the upper tax bracket, and I think that's completely and totally okay. So we're going to be going to extensive conscription very soon here. So that's definitely noted. Our agrarian society is still at 39 for the recruitable population factor. That's going to go down to 36, and we expect that to happen Let's see here. April was when we noticed the tick previously. So then we would expect this in like sometime in January, something along those lines. We're probably just going to go for extensive conscription here, to be honest. It'll cost a little extra political power, but I think that's fine. It should be okay. So with that in mind, we'll grab this here in just a couple of days here. We're at 284, 285. This is going up by 1.74 per day. So we'll have this very soon. Okay, any moment now. There we go. We can now go to extensive conscription, which we're going to do, and that will allow us to really start mobilizing up significantly. But it's still going to be reduced by 40% due to agrarian society. So we're still going to have manpower trickling in for a while. We've got a lot of manpower in the pool right now, but that will change once we get these guys recruited, right? And that's fine. So I do want to check in on how we're doing on the field hospital. So that is currently 48 days away from completion. Noted. It's currently August. This is going to finish after we finish all of this training, isn't it? Well, that's actually fine, I suppose. 15 September is the date now. That's going to be like 2 days apart. We'll see how it ends up going. Okay, I want to check in on the status of our tanks. So there's Marines 1 finished researching. We have a Special Forces doctrine that we can unlock, and this is going to be elevating the Marine Corps. I don't have any interest in Mountaineers or Paratroopers at this time. So that'll be fine for the moment. And I want to come in here and probably continue working on researching Marines. We're not planning on doing any Marine landings right now, but we can think about that eventually. And having that research done will be a useful thing. So that sounds good for the moment. So everything is proceeding nicely for now. We're just waiting on that field hospital finishing up. This will currently finish. Does this tell us when it will finish other than in 38 days? Do we just have to do the math ourselves? That's a little awkward. That is a little awkward. Well, we can check in here and see that these are now going to still be on 15 September at this point. Logistics Company 4 has finished. There's a naval invasion. Wait, there's a naval combat down over here? Oh, that's just freight convoys. Yeah, that's going to happen. That's understood. So there's a naval invasion going on over this direction, and they're not going to have a fun time with this. They're not going to have a fun time with that at all. Okay, that's a raid coming in. That raid is coming in right down over here. We've got an 82.9% chance of repelling the raid. They're trying to raid our naval engineering facility that we're not doing anything with again. So there's that. I think we're fine. We'll just work on repelling that raid. It's completely okay. So we have a research slot available. What did we just research? Oh, this was Logistics Company 4. Right. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. Now, one thing we could think about doing is going into here and start grabbing synthetic oil, just in case we need more oil. Currently, we have a lot of oil. So I'm not terribly concerned about our oil amounts right now. But that might become a problem later, and if it does become a problem, it would be good to have these synthetic refineries done. So would we like to have more fuel from them? Would we? Well, this isn't actually an either or. We can have both. So we can get going on that. That seems fine for now. Okay, so we're slowly working on this down over here. It's currently 15 August, so this is currently 1 month away. This is going to be ready on 15 September right now. And if we check in on this research, we can see the field hospital 33 days away. So, yeah. There's a dangerous naval invasion up over here. Oh, yeah, this is such a dangerous naval invasion. It's incredibly, incredibly dangerous. Why is it even telling us that that's dangerous? That is never, ever going to be a problem. Okay, so we've got this infantry division here. That's going to go into our Coast Guard. There we go. This guy can get a trait, but his like, his clone over here can't, which is kind of funny. So, organizational loss when moving and attack +1. This guy is really very focused on defense, though. So we're going to give him defensive doctrine. That'll be fine. Okay, so that seems neat. Now we're mostly just waiting on field hospitals at this point. So that's good. And the first army of tanks we intend on rolling out up here. We intended that before they lost their supplies up here, but now we really intend on it. So that'll be good. We'll have these two armies. We're just going to try to spearhead, like, up to here and take a position here and then set up a defensive line here and here. Something along the lines of that. So that'll be fine. This is going to be a bit of a problem for us, but it's not the end of the world. So we're going to want a small force to blockade that. I'm thinking we grab 4 of these guys, move it into a new army, and then this army, we can give it a commander. Show us field commanders, please. We'll promote this guy. And we're going to put this guy in charge. Okay, so his goal is going to be in position right here. So for now, we want them to come and... I'm going to fallback line them right here. I just want them to position here. Just to be in position up over here. They're not actually going to do anything. We just want to stage them there. So that'll be fine for now. So it's currently 25 August. That's looking absolutely A-okay. And do we want to go back to having some national focuses? Potentially. Potentially. What I'd really like to do is grab industrialized society. For this, of course, we need stability. And have we come off of cooldown for boosting stability yet? No, we have not. Okay. Well, that's awkward. Okay. So there's not a lot that we can do there, actually. What's our non-aligned support right now? Oh, it's very, very high. Okay, that seems absolutely okay. So that looks good for the moment, and there's also some supply issues that I'm noting down over here now. This is new. They didn't have these supply issues previously. Interesting. I wonder if they're having their convoys be blockaded. That might be something the US is doing. Or I guess the communist states of America. So that's absolutely fine. We're happy about that. But it's going to be a while before we can take advantage of it on both of these fronts, right? That's absolutely understood. We're going to continue to work through all of these civilian factories, and we're also building a bunch of land forts in the background. For now, that seems absolutely fine. And how are we doing on Field Hospital? That is 15 days away. So there's Signal Company 1. And we could definitely continue to work on this. Maybe we do want to put Signal Company in here. Because this adds a 1% battalion modifier for tanks on breakthrough. Very possibly. Let's see how it feels. We can swap this out. Not enough equipment to train. What are we lacking? Tanks? Tanks. Okay, and anti-air, surprisingly. Okay, that's noted. So let's go ahead and put the Signal Company in here. That will boost up our breakthrough. It'll drop our armor down a little bit. It will reduce our organization very slightly, but it'll increase our HP and our recovery rate and our breakthrough. That'll be fine for now. Let's put this in here and we'll see. If this requires... If our manpower becomes too big of an issue, we can swap that, is what I'm trying to say here. So that seems fine. We can continue our training then, and that'll buy us time to get some more tanks made. So support equipment, trucks, and anti-air. Okay, so we know that we've got this kind of a bit of an issue, right? So we don't actually have any anti-air production happening here. Actually, we have quite a lot of steel coming in here. That's interesting. So we definitely do want to get some anti-air production. Let's get that going. So we're going to get that in here. And that is going to be moved up to be in front of the artillery. I'm going to move the artillery down to here. We've got a lot of artillery in stock. I'm going to drop this, and we're going to go to 5x. And let's not make quite this many tanks. Or rather, quite this many trucks. Okay, this'll do. So we're now working on making some anti-air. That looks good. Yeah, that should be relatively fine. We do need some additional aluminum. Can we import any of this? Not really, is the answer. Yeah, not really. Okay, so that's fine for now. So we should be good on getting the equipment that we need here. So anti-air should be starting to flow in. Tanks are definitely flowing into these. So that looks good for right now. What's our current production rate on tanks? That is 6.53 per day, and that's going to continue to go up. So we're going to be up to around 7 per day. I'd like to get up to somewhere around 10 per day. So I'd like to bring this up to 25 on anti-air eventually when we have access to that. But right now, we don't. We're making 2.54 per day at this moment, and that's going to come up a lot. So that looks good. We don't have very much anti-air in there. Now, one thing to note is that in our current defensive infantry divisions here, we do not have any support anti-air here. And we might want to consider putting it in. That'll boost up our defense a little bit, and that'll get us air attack, which I think is probably a useful thing overall. It'll reduce our recovery rate slightly. It'll reduce our organization a little bit, but it'll increase our HP. And our hard attack will go up quite a bit as well. And our soft attack will go up slightly. So I'm going to put in support anti-air here, but another division template with the same name already exists. What? Show decommission templates. Okay, we're just going to go through and we're going to delete any of these templates that are deactivated. So this is all of the templates that we have at this time. Now we can save this. Okay, sure. So we're going to do that, and that means, of course, that we're going to need a lot of anti-air. That's understood. But that should help us shoot down a lot of additional planes, right? So if we check over here, we can see that there are some planes there. If we check up over here, there's a lot more planes. So that's understood. But getting that anti-air rolled out will be a very big deal. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for that to really take effect. You can see here we need like 4,734 advanced anti-air, and that's absolutely noted. Oh, I think I just accidentally turned on the day-night cycle. There we go. I like the day-night cycle, but I find it deeply distracting. So 75 political power and 60% chance of the mutiny being crushed. We'll hold a patriotic speech. That's fine for now. Okay, so there's the radar special project completed, and we also just finished up field hospitals. So to that end, I want to come over here to engineering, and we can start going this direction to get the radar station here. So we can currently only build a level 1 radar. This is a mobile radar, anti-air radar, and ground radar, and that's state level 4. Okay, so this is allowing us to build the additional levels of radar in a state, isn't it? So right now, we're going to only be able to build 1 level of radar. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get some level 1 radar built. We cannot upgrade in our vassal states, which is interesting. But let's get some level 1 radar built on our front lines, or close to our front lines, anyway. And these will not take very long to build, of course. And we can build it here as well. This is kind of a front line. So we'll get going on that. Not a huge amount of radar investment at this moment, but we will get there. Okay, so that is all looking good for right now. The question is, when are we going to finish our armored divisions? Well, as you can see here, our training is halted at this moment because we don't have enough modern tanks. We've delivered the anti-air here, but the anti-air has not been delivered for a lot of these yet, and that's absolutely understood. I'm not surprised about that. That is deeply, deeply unsurprising. We're currently producing 3.63 anti-air per day. It's going to take a while at this rate to burn through that. The British Empire decrypted our ciphers. Okay. Speaking of which, we should be working on continuing to upgrade our intelligence agency. I've kind of been slacking on that. Okay, we'll continue to work on that for now. So, this is going to continue to boost up. You can see that we're currently at about 25%. So ultimately, we're going to be at somewhere around 16 advanced anti-air per day once this works its way up. Somewhere around there. But it's going to get higher as well because of the additional military factories. So for now, that seems good. And we're currently producing about 7 tanks per day. Now, I'm going to move the anti-air to here because I want the military factories to go there first. But I'm also going to boost this up to 40 factories once we get those military factories, which we don't have right now. That's absolutely understood. So for now, that looks good. We are definitely working on producing some tanks. We need about 1,600, and at the current rate, let's see, 1598 divided by 7.01 would be 228 days. Okay. So that's a while, no doubt about that. We need to ramp up that production because we're going to have training behind this. We're going to have to replace tanks. There's a lot of that that's going to need to happen, right? So at this point, what we need is tanks and anti-air for all of this. And I believe that our anti-air is currently going to the units that are already on the front line and is not being sent to training units. Let's check here. Yeah, so reinforcements here are on high priority and training is at medium priority. This means that the anti-air is going here. And how many units do we want? Well, I'm actually going to change this. I'm going to change this to medium priority and I'm going to change our training here to high priority. So now all of our anti-air is going to be going into these armored divisions. We can see we got 5 there. And that's just going to continue to happen. So yeah, that's now up to 10, and that will continue to proceed along those lines. So that seems fine, and that's just changing the priority of where the anti-air flow is going. There's only so much anti-air that we can make right now, but that number will be dramatically increasing. So that looks good for the moment. We need to get some tanks produced and online, but more than anything right now, we need to get that anti-air in there. So that looks good. Early submarine research has been finished. I'm not terribly concerned about Navy right now, to be honest, but it's fine to continue working on this. It's okay. So that seems fine for the moment. We have an available special project, of course, and that is here because we finished radar. Let's go ahead and grab the jet engine. Requires 3 breakthrough points. Okay. So we can't start that yet. That's understood. We need the breakthroughs to start the research. So we're going to have that very soon. So this is 97.4, and we are definitely gaining some progress here. Yeah. So we'll just wait until we have that. That one additional breakthrough will not take very long. So that looks good. Now, we're definitely making fantastic progress on these civilian factories. In fact, we can get an additional one going here. There we go. And we can get 2 up over here. So we should definitely do that. There's also this out over here. We should definitely be doing that. Cool. So that looks good for now. Now, how are we doing on the... There's our Air Force Department. How are we doing on the Stronghold Network? Okay, that is progressing. So, in the experimental facilities here, I'd be interested in recruiting... Okay, so these are all going to cost us 100. Noted. And then if we recruited here, we've actually just got this guy. That was just free. So he's at least providing some breakthrough progress now. I don't think there's any researches that we can do here without any additional breakthroughs. We need to do atomic research to get all of that going. Okay, that's fine. We can definitely do that eventually. So that seems okay. How are we doing now on our training here? Well, The anti-air should be flowing in here. Keep in mind, it's about 4 days to fully outfit one of these with anti-air. So in total, since we've got 25 of these, hang on, 24 divisions. But 1 through 25. Something seems wrong here. Why is this saying 24 divisions, but it's got 25? I guess we'll see if it actually produces 25 of them. Because this is odd. Well, these modern tank brigades are now starting to train again, now that they have some amount of their tanks that they need. But the anti-air is definitely flowing in here, and it will be down here in just a few days, honestly. We don't need all that much anti-air for this to happen. What are we fighting for? So that's going to gain us 5% base stability, which is very, very good for us, of course. Brings us up to 49, and at this point, if we were to go in here, how much do we need for this again? 59, so we need 10% additional stability. Okay. Industrialization schemes will actually reduce the agrarian society as well. For 350. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So that's good to know. But for now, what we're really interested in doing is getting these advanced anti-air out and getting these tanks out. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're almost certainly going to get all of our tanks to this army and get this out to the front. That is the goal for next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.